Hello, this is CapCan Knows, the official podcast of the Capital Area College Access Network. You may be familiar with our newsletter articles of the same name. We are excited to engage the community in topics about college access. I'm your host, Rachel Cortez, an AmeriCorps Vista serving with the Capital Area College Access Network. Today is a special episode because joining me is CapCan's Executive Director, Michelle Strauss, and Heather Carrigan, the Scholarship Director of the Lansing Promise. We want to welcome you to CapCan Knows.
Good morning. Let's get started. First of all, Heather, thank you so much for being here with us today.
Thank you so much for having me.
It's nice to see your face.
Same here.
We want students to know that are going to be working with the Lansing Promise that you are the person who will be on the phone if they call and ask any questions. So it's a good chance for us to introduce you to the Lansing Promise scholars from this year's senior class. So that's why we're here today. We start all of our podcasts, though, with this question: who encouraged you to go to college?
So I was encouraged to go to college by family and friends. I feel like it was always something that I knew in the back of my mind that I would eventually go to college. And yeah, it just was like a natural thing.
Yeah, we hear that from a lot of people, and this is something that we're trying to create a college-going culture so that that is true for all of our young people in the community. So thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit more about the Lansing Promise and why it is vital to the students of the Lansing community.
So when I was thinking this through, one thing that came to mind is that, the Lansing Promise is literally that. It's a promise to the students of Lansing, a promise that if they live within the Lansing School District boundaries, their 9th through 12th grade years in high school, if they attend a high school within the Lansing School District boundaries and graduate from that high school, that we have scholarship funding available to assist them. So in that regard, this is something that the conversation has started in kindergarten. It continues on through high school graduation, and the students know that post-secondary education is an option, and it's a reality that is promised to them starting in kindergarten. So, Lansing Promise, we're a scholarship, but I have just been focusing on that fact. I mean, we are making a promise to every student that meets our eligibility requirements that we will assist them with post-secondary education. So,
So you went through the qualifications a little bit. So why don't you reiterate what those are, and then talk about which high school programs a student needs to graduate from in order to be a scholar.
Right. So as I touched on, a student must live within the Lansing School District boundaries, attend a public, private, homeschool, virtual school within the Lansing School District boundaries. I don't know if I said attend 9th through 12th grade, and actually graduate from one of those high schools in order to be eligible for the Lansing Promise Scholarship. There is also a requirement that they be able to complete the FAFSA process. And they also need to apply and be accepted at one of the partner schools that we work with, which are Lansing Community College, Michigan State University, and Olivet College.
Great. And one of the things just that students know that we collaborate at CapCan with Lansing Promise to help students walk through the process. So when you said, Heather, that students need to complete the FAFSA, that's something that CapCan and the college advisors that are in each one of the high schools will actually help the students walk through that process. We'll be doing that this year mostly virtually. We can set up one-on-one appointments, but the FAFSA is really the first door open that needs to happen in order for a student to be able to complete the Lansing Promise scholarship process.
Absolutely, absolutely. And we're so grateful for the college advisors and everybody's help in the schools, you know, to allow the students to be able to get through that process and apply for our scholarship.
Well, it's our pleasure and honor to do that with you. Can you tell us a little bit about where the application is and what that application is going to look like for this year, since things I think have changed a little bit because of COVID?
Yeah, so we've been working on updating our application, and there will be a link on our website within a week or so. We're going with a Google form option this time, which will allow me to be able to make some really quick updates, which are usually we would require that the student already have been accepted to one of the 3 partner colleges. This time around, I'm really more interested in which of the 3 they're interested in at this point, and then they can follow up further down in the process and let us know exactly which school they have committed to. So almost like the whole, you know, selection day. What is it?
Decision day. Yeah.
Decision day. We're not being selected, we're deciding. So sort of, you know, it fits into that model. The other thing is we're also amending the application so that rather than having the requirement that the FAFSA has already been completed before they fill out our application, we're allowing them a little more flexibility in the time frame. We're reminding them of the importance on the application and asking them to commit to obviously completing that process. But this time around, you know, with our application, we're not having it be, yes, I've already done this before they can submit their application.
Right, right. So let's just talk about the time.
Okay. Well, I was just going to say, did I say it's going to be on our, you know, there'll be a link on our website to the application, and we'll share it with everyone so that they can promote it and get it out there. So hopefully next week.
So we're talking late September when we're recording this, and this will be broadcast, that the application will be available.
Yes.
FAFSA won't open up until October 1st, but students really have between late September and when to complete the Lansing Promise application.
So the initial deadline is April 1st for fall semester start. And then we do allow students to apply for the scholarship within 1 year of graduation. So we also have a November 1st deadline for students that are wanting to apply for like the the spring semester.
Mm-hmm.
And then, like I said, students have within a year of graduation to actually apply for the scholarship, just to kind of give people a little flexibility in the time frame. But April 1st, November 1st, those are 2 pretty important dates in regards to our application deadlines.
Right, and just a reminder that the FAFSA deadline is March 1st. So the timing of all this sort of comes together nicely.
Yeah.
So good.
We're trying.
I know, we've been working on this for years. We're finally have a flow, which is good.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about the fact that Lansing Promise is a last dollar scholarship. What does that mean?
Absolutely. So a last dollar scholarship is essentially a scholarship that's in place, kind of like what's the word I want to use? Like a safety net, I want to say. So how it works is, hence the reason why we require the FAFSA, because a student is required to accept all state and federal gift aid, which essentially are grants and scholarships, anything that does not have to be paid back. So the reason for accepting that gift aid initially is that those particular financial aid awards will be applied to the student's financial aid package, their student account balance first. And then as a last dollar scholarship, Lansing Promise is applied last. To that point, some of our scholars might not see the Lansing Promise reflected on their financial aid package initially because they had all of their expenses covered through state or federal grant scholarships. But that doesn't mean that they're not Lansing Promise recipients. We're sort of there as a safety net, waiting. We have your back. We're there to be called in as needed if there's still a balance left on that student's account.
Definitely, definitely. And we know that for families to understand that if you're receiving a Pell Grant to go to Lansing Community College, that's likely to cover almost all, if not all, of the costs of you attending Lansing Community College. But if your student decides to go to a Michigan State University, the Pell Grant won't pay that full amount. And that's when then, of course, the Lansing Promise would kick in and be that last dollar that could be used to help make up the difference.
Absolutely.
Great. All right. So as I mentioned, of course, we work real closely with Lansing Promise and the college advisors to help students navigate the process, and we're grateful that Lansing Promise provides some of the resources to help sustain the college advisors in the high schools. But what are some of the other support that you can provide as the designated point person at Lansing Promise for scholars if they were to call you on the phone or send you an email requesting assistance?
Yeah, so specifically when the student is still in high school and working through the application process, you know, I'm here, I can verify eligibility, I can answer, you know, any scholarship questions that you have. You know, anytime if there's a question you might have that you reach out to me about and I might not have the answer, usually I know exactly who I can send you to. And yeah, I will definitely commit to helping you connect with the right person and get you the right answers that you need. So yeah, just here to, just give you some encouragement, help you through the process. I know it can be a little overwhelming, but yeah.
And I know that you've often handled unique circumstances for students, or if circumstances change for students, and we know that this is happening a lot with COVID, of course.
Absolutely.
So if you're concerned about your eligibility or your family's circumstances have changed and you're not sure how that's going to impact your ability to pay for college, you know, they could call you and talk through what their options are. And get obviously referrals to the right places to follow up and whatever else they need to take care of.
Absolutely. And once, you know, the scholarship's awarded and the student's in college, you know, I'm here to help you keep track of where you're at with your scholarship. I'm here to answer any questions again that I can, provide you with some resources and some opportunities that tend to come up for our Lansing Promise scholars. We have opportunities for some volunteering and maybe some job prospects, some events, things that in the community are specifically built for engaging our Lansing Promise scholars. So we try to, you know, make sure that we're engaging and letting you know we're here. We're here for whatever you might need. So, yeah.
Well, that's a good little teaser for the next segment that we will do later on in the fall when you roll out some of your new resources for graduates who have been Lansing Promise scholars. So stay tuned for that announcement when we do that podcast down the road.
Right.
So we're going to wrap up now. And as you know, Heather, during all of our podcasts, we ask every interviewee the question, CapCan knows, where we ask you to state your name and what you know. So Heather Carrigan.
So my name is Heather Carrigan, and I know that it's really important to focus on progress over perfection when working towards my goals. Working to achieve any goal, whether it's life goal, education goal, work goal, progress over perfection has become my mantra lately. So that's what I know.
I think that's good advice during COVID. We want students to know that you need to just take the time and effort to make progress on your education after you graduate from high school. And the Lansing Promise is the vehicle by which we have committed in this community to make that happen for you. So,
Absolutely.
great.
Absolutely. Thank
Well,
you.
thank you, Heather, for joining us today. We appreciate it. And where can people call or email should they need more information from you?
So I can be reached at, usually the best way is my email, Carrigan at lansingpromise.org. It's CARRIGAN at lansingpromise.org, or Lansing Promise website.
Thank you again so much for joining us today.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
For more information on CapCan, be sure to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. The links will be below, and visit our website on capcan.org. Thank you all for listening to us today, and we will see you again soon.